pretensions. Each note I make comes flying back on the tape recorder, dense and unannounced, garbled and mearscum, like a pipe for smoking beer. I listen and breathe rapidly when I'm out to wait to see how suddenly a gift will alarm me, how wasteful and quick stubbornness is, how glad I'll be when you lock the door and refuse to let me out. The red roof is shoveled. I speak, but I hear. I move each body around like a piece of furniture, away from the noise I'm making. This must be a quiet house of experiments, quickly chosen, mercilessly followed. So rich, so full of cream and dreamlike merriment, the happiness of torture learned to form a wing. I fly out easily to meet what used to come in no speech, is filtered, garble it, effect, defect. I used to know you yesterday. I burned. I suddenly know you, but we have no time. Today I know your speech, but I have no rhyme. I speak to you as Shakespeare, monitoring feeling. I speak to you as Valerie with emotion about things. I can't be brief at all. I speak to you, her battering, whereas Gertrude Stein just bantering. I love to speak to you as Mallarmé and Jules, and of a piece I speak as Larry McMurtry in the vast spaces of someone else's words, and the ideas of the opposite sex I speak aloud as Williams and Pound about my tree and the queue for the bus. I watch you waiting there with them. I speak to you most as John Bunyan, a little mixed with Sophocles. I know what I can see. This allegory is as of a woman alone, Sappho perhaps, but it's faked and more wolf, not her real name. I speak to you in Hawthorne's clear Latinate sentences, so spun on my own head, so owned by me. I speak to you of my feelings as he dismisses me for being so Catholic, for being so divine, for trying to be so Ashbury and Kerouac all at once, for trying to be missing nothing, to even be Ted Berrigan and his Catholic Catullus at the same time. And in the end, each time I speak, I look around religiously as Dante did, and I am. The next reader is Megan Washington.
So heart-filling to see you all here to honor such a great legacy. This is for Mallory, who first introduced me to Bernadette Mayer. A bow. I may babble about directions, and I might not spend much time on them. You can read it faster if you do. But when you don't, I'm just saying it's fine to have an audience after having a family, which is a smooth, mothering wind blowing on it to tell stories to. And somehow that was the gist of it, telling stories to madmen. I used to tell stories to madmen before I had a family, though now I'm running out of stories and I repeat myself like a fine, smooth, mothering wind blowing from the southwest of us. So it's good to have an audience around, but when you don't, I'm just saying you can spin a tale much faster, though you may not spend much time on it, stealing a moment, say in the evening, to put into words what happened 10 years ago, to the wheels of your car whose engine was sound on a 24-hour drive to Nova Scotia. You fall evolve a little in later years, when the demon hosting a dangerous poem appears. You become more simple and not to impose on the world all of your fears of starvation and danger, threatened loss of love, and animal nature, a star even falling, symptoms of revenge, greed, and even speculation, pain and loss, the inevitable reprisal for the investment of the whole being, fear of sickness and disease, bad habits overtaking you, the whole constellation of the sins of others and their investments and their loss, the problems of the planet, and of the next 50 years, even the danger inherent in passion. You desire control of your own destiny. I don't speak of these things at all. I wanted to say something new, but I was confounded with irony, which I deny you. At least when the mind clears, and I leave you to your vision of innocent field, which is blank. Perhaps a spectrum is visible on it, with a fine, smooth, mothering wind coming in that direction. Don?
It's so nice being here tonight and being included and seeing so many old friends and new friends. Title of this poem is called The Heart of the Hare, and Bernadette wrote this in March, and the hare is the March hare, and hares breed in March, and that makes them all giddy. They bump into walls and stuff. So I think this poem sort of touches on the heart of the hare. Tomorrow's Monday, we will do some laundry. Clean clothes for one night in New York. I've got to hard boil some eggs for lunch on Tuesday. Pack a compact bag and stay healthy. Lewis for his back hauling garbage. This quick trip can't stop me from getting back to work Wednesday or Thursday. Only 3 weeks then till we leave again for another 2 weeks of distraction. And then spring with all its fevers and slow days will come. And I don't see why the weather doesn't seem brisk and energetic, but it will not, and I'll be prone or likely to succumb to what is newly warmed or unfrozen in the air. As if the space between me and other people that was generated in coldness for this part of the year past, or became accustomed to the cold's distance, now suppurates or matures, and we become closer in the freedom of the thaw and thereafter. And as everything is growing, my conscience grows with pain, a little pain or weakening, and enervation, and I am febrile, and I have to lie down or get under the blanket to sweat for a night. That's it. I have to sweat. If the temperature is 40 or 50 degrees, if the sun is getting hotter, and if I cannot sweat, something grows in me unnaturally or unnaturally energetic, even feverishly sexually. This could never happen in February. Or is it that a tree needs pruning or a plant to be replanted or an idea to be covered over completely, as in a hothouse to grow unnaturally fast, with sudden new sprouts and quick roots to indicate good care has been taken in the winter for a reason. So, to prepare for this short season, I find I must be circumspect and stolid for a minute. To show a strong emotion or eat curry before I'm ready might take my sheltered winter heart by surprise. a heart still frozen solid and beating too slowly to thaw. When 1,000 faces appear on the street or at the reading, each one to be recognized, even touched out of memory, each one still enduring the shedding of the bulky coat and heavy hat or head of hair, each one thinking to flail arms about and beat the air, but forced by an old habit only to be social, to visit more or walk around, each one wanting to be rolling on the real ground, exposed. It's last year's grass still, and everything's in order. It's a medley, but no one's really rolling around yet. I'm upright, and so are you. I'm shaking your hand warmly. I haven't seen you since midwinter or even before. It might be safe to kiss, yet I'd hope I wouldn't suddenly collapse or cry. And then my heart is sharpened and can be fast thawed, and it's the last thaw. So it's safe to rest with you. Already the people are becoming thronged or thronging the streets. Certainly there's no ice left. It years past. I might be older before next winter, and before we meet in silence again, broken as our hearts imagine that winter's long, spring sudden, and warmth allowed. Finally, in the end, I would like to say that a speech or a poem in the month of March is not better nor any more logical, innately orderly, or sublime than a sudden embrace.
It's great to see everybody. This is fun. Carlton Fisk is my ideal. He wears a beautiful necklace with a beautiful skin in his neck. Unlike the Worthington butcher Bradford T. Fisk, butchers always have a crush on me, who cannot even order veal except in the whole legs of a catcher. Catchers squat in a posture that is, of course, inward, not orgasm. But Carlton Fisk, I can model a whole attitude to spring. And he is a leaper. Like Walt Frazier, or better, like the only white leaper. I forget his name in the ABA's All-Star Game halftime slam dunk contest this year. I think about Carlton Fisk and his modest home in New Hampshire all the time. I love the sound of his name denying orgasm. Carlton and I look out the window at spring's first northeaster. He carries a big hero across the porch of his home. He has no year-round Xmas tree like Ray who handles the ball like a banana. We eat and watch the storm batter the buds, walking on the trees, and cover the green of the grass that my sister thinks is new grass. It's still last year's grass. It's last year's grass still. And still there's no spring training as I read this, March 16, 1976, the year of the blizzard that sealed our love up in a great mound of orgasmic earth. The pitcher's mound is the lightning mound. Pudge will see fastballs in the wind. His masculine arm extends to the field. He wears his necklace. He catches the ball in his teeth. Balls fall with a neat thunk in the upholstery of the leather glove he puts on to caress me, as told to in the off season. All of a sudden, he leaps from the couch. A real ball has come through the window and is heading for the penguins on his sweater, one of whom has lost the balloon, which is floating up into the sky. To memorize the universe. I do not breathe easily while death is this motion of air. I know my devotion to love without recourse is not fair. Marie's asleep, looking pretty. We can resemble everything, but we can't be mad or sad. We can only be monsters or be happy. I can't explain it, but I might die if the course from mirror to mirror went unrehearsed and bad. I close the book and tell my mother to get lost. Is she the one invisibly lost within and still to be seen? This precious pen connects me to the visible world like a singer. I can't sing. I close the book again. I have no way to judge it. I have no form. I may have written all these words out of a need to be alluring, like a siren. I am no one, and I see nothing. I see no images. I hear no sounds. Israel has attacked Lebanon with senseless reprisal, with even less thought and fewer ideas. Nothing today is appropriate. I indulge in senselessly missing people who have died that I don't love or even know, because I love their friends, their acquaintances, as Lebanon is contiguous to Israel. The orange I see is to you green, as we used to wear orange to enrage the Irish senselessly on St. Patrick's Day. I know nothing now about politics. I knew nothing then of the universe. I've only been able to memorize its parts, like habits. I know what a situation may contain. My father loves to use the word vignettes to describe a scene. He loves to impress us with words and spell and pronounce them in an effort to contain an explosion. His possible sensible love is hidden behind his back in his hands. Your mother's love is in not venturing. It is contained by education and objects, a personal knowledge of the quality of what is offered for sale and for free in the world. My mother's love was in protection from aspiring to do too much, lest we be disappointed. My father's love in the tension of making a desk out of a piano. Too bad he was so rushed and died as he wished, so suddenly and young. I'm in a hurry too, as I do what they forbade. Love openly, English man of the middle classes, bear his heathen children, have fantastic dreams, write poetry, and die. But I am made of these two others, and as their flesh, I bring them with me to the borders. I have not lost my mother's humility, which never served her in death. I have not lost my father's tenacity, which endeared him to those he competed with. For him, I still act like a boy. For her, I'm God's servant. And as this soldier, I live in a war. I ask if I will ever recover. I wish to resemble only my lover. Bernadette Mayer.
Okay. I'm going to read one because I was going to read two, but we're going to hear Bernadette read Eva Easter from the tape. So I'm going to read. Well, first I would say, we have Easter is, how Frank O'Hara writes his amazing birthday, occasional poems like Mike Goldberg, Earth and Other Birds, and how he transcends and grounds the birthday poem this way. I feel like she is doing the calendar poem that way. You always know what season it is, but maybe it is. So I'm reading very strong. This one right before the heart of the hair. Very strong February. A man and a woman pretend to be white ice. 3 men at the lavender door are closed in by the storm, with strong prejudice and money to buy the green pines. One weekend fisherman and 2 painters watch the vivid violet winds blow visibility from the mountain beyond the Black Valley. That means, or then you're in a big cloud of it. Brilliant, white, mid-February, a week or two left of the distracting black trees. Or the brownish buds obscure your view of the valley again. Looking for company, 4 dark men and a burnt sienna woman come in for 3 minutes, then bye-bye like a gold watch left on the chair, or part of the sum of what big white families think up to store for long yellow Sundays to eat with brown ecological company. At some point later, gorgeous red adventure stops. Did you forget to turn it down and laugh in the face of the fearful white storm inclement? Or picture it brilliant blue for a further Sunday memory in a coloring book. You talk as light as you can, refusing a big pink kiss. Burns the Sunday sauce, crushed red tomatoes. You
you turn it down to just an orange glow. This particular storm, considering the pause and the greenish thaw before it, reminds me in its mildness of imitating a sea green that is actually the future. I imitate an imagined golden trumpet sound on the purple, brilliant words of a man or woman I haven't met yet. Or perhaps it's a gray-haired man I already know who said something yesterday to a mutual friend who will give me the whole story in black and white tomorrow, or the day after, just as big orange clouds from local businesses go to work to push away the rest of the white snow all night. Okay, Marie Marsh.
Last poem in the golden. Spring house. Tuesdays we will always have fish, flounder if we've got good stamps, scrod cod, no. Are you prepared? I definitely feel you can't do both. What else did I see? The year's first lilacs, May's full moon. I'm trying to remember now. Do water fountains have beards? There is a space in spring for arrangements and compartments, forms. There's always a space to change for that. There's a space in death, apparent as beginning and ending, fall, and as they fall, winter never ends. Spring will not begin. We have the heat of summer, wordy and deferential, interrupted for travel. The light not long enough for the overbearing way as light falls. Words fall short of suiting the subject. Hold my coat for me, would you? The house on top of the hill always catches the best light. Who lives there? Maybe a family of knowledge making so much noise it sounds like a public pool, bird sanctuary, softball game with the chimes chiming in. We talk. Knowledge is baby sleep, still light out. The gold sun is gone, a softer dusk fell, as with more grace, between trees and on those full leaves and left to be studied, identically full grown already. A little image or thought, squeaking or twittering animals, and echoing thrown in. That could be the whole of it, all I've got to say. In the beginning, knowledge was a tantrum. Now a Spencer relative, he or she only steals cupcakes or an occasional lost dollar from the funny way we keep things in order, knowing exactly where the lost things are. You almost lost it again. Now it's history, another way of washing clothes in the sink. You can use the same soap twice if you do the less dirty ones first. As poem is, as a mother, so instinct does it work. Strapped from the legal order to leave the house in a metaphor style among similes kindly loans, as neat as a pin, like a seed to the wind. But there was something else, the matrix for the matrimony. I almost lost it again. Phone rings, it could be anyone. What was I putting together? You can't rest in ideas like a cold, secure neckerchief. It's good to wear one in the summer when ideas are so great. Without the endurance of winter's darkness on the light. And what if making up things purely fun, from fantasy, as if the instinct to forget could ever have a line like, I am a Marxist, I am an anarchist, I am crazy as a beetle and the worm crawled and wriggled on the bottom marble step in such beauty that they became famous to us, were offered mink coats and foreign cards. We looked for them again and could only find slugs at the base of the dead elm tree. You can't be in love with me any longer. I prefer my dinner at the time we have it now, so I can write later and be lively without thought of food. A lot of time's passed since the plaid shirt you painted became so still, the moon and all moved, earth revolving, sun still but benefiting us differently. Then we can use it to grow corn and tomatoes, zucchini and other squashes, and fresh basil, and concentric onions, and borage for the bees. What text will tell me how to so benefit my own ideas? My waiting for love's order to move insensibly, for incomprehensible truths to become poetry, for the neat desire of an opposite heart to push seasons together in a way we never suffer, but only offer a mesmerizing order to what is remembered variety, not only that, and its variety. And now it's almost lost like the last block in a series of 12 that makes 6 puzzles among them. But something else, whatever it is and where I can find it, no code message or the obfuscation of the following order, however human, however a mixture. But a demon of chaos, surprised like a virus or a wheel engaged in moving, as between inexorable sisters. The slowness and unpredictable biology of that, combined with the skill to meet moon and sun, and all that opposition, like this word, redolent of self and repeating, always seeming to covet thought, always almost lost. Unless I can regain it, unless I can be ordinary, unless I can forget everything, unless I know everything. Each order, it's a moment, speaks a clear word. I am absent and silent, I can hear what is almost heard. I know my heart is better counted on than redeemed at every point. You are my feeling, the word, order the light, history, the dark of the day. And what is almost lost is time to change us fast enough. To get away with your love for another summer's repetition, it was identity, but it's not that sense. And this shape allows us to lose and lose completely. It was the order of the family and the house that catches light. And now history teaches, but forget that. There's time to be turning to the moment. It's only sound, only moment left. There's always time. Sometimes it seems moved by right way, never a moment left, and always, sometimes, never made the false spring logic of our life. And then I know we are moving again, bodies move, everything moves. But the afternoon I met you, too fast, late fall, cold and dirty, the streets were lively. And at that moment, you and I looked so alike, as day to day, as they say. The next reader, and the last reader, is Sarah Stedman.
It's a big honor to read essay. Love you, Bernadette. I guess it's too late to live on the farm. I guess it's too late to move to a farm. I guess it's too late to start farming. I guess it's too late to begin farming. I guess we'll never have a farm. I guess we're too old to do farming. I guess we couldn't afford to buy a farm anyway. I guess we're not suited to being farmers. I guess we'll never have a farm now. I guess farming is not the cards now. I guess Lewis wouldn't make a good farmer. I guess I can't expect we'll ever have a farm now. I guess I have to give up on all my dreams of being a farmer. I guess I'll never be a farmer now. We couldn't get a farm anyway, though Allen Ginsberg got one late in life. Maybe someday I'll have a big garden. I guess farming is really out. Feeding the pigs and the chickens, walking between miles of rows of crops. I guess farming is just too difficult. I'll never have a farm. Too much work and still to be poets. Who are the farmer poets? Was there ever a poet who had a self-sufficient farm? Flannery O'Connor raised peacocks and Faulkner may have farmed a little. And Robert Frost has farmland. And someone told me Sam farmed. Very few poets are real farmers. If William Carlos Williams could be a doctor, and Riley Vermont too, why not a poet who's also a farmer? Of course, there was Brook Farm, and Virgil raised bees. Perhaps some poets of the past were overseers of farmers. I guess poets tend to live more momentarily than life on a farm would allow. You would never leave the farm to give a reading or to go to a lecture by Emerson in Concord. I don't want to be a farmer. My mother was right. I should have never tried to raise out of the proletariat. Unless I can convince myself, as Ian argues with me, that we are among the proletariat of poets of all classes, each ill-paid and surviving on nothing, or on as little as one needs to survive. Steadfast as any farmer, and fixed as the stars. Tenants of a we rent out endlessly.
This is called Eve of Easter. Milton made his literate daughters read to him in 5 languages till they heard the news he would marry again, and said they'd rather hear who was dead. Milton turned even Paradise Lost into an autobiography. I have 3 babies tonight, all 3 are sleeping. Rachel, the great-great-granddaughter of Herman Melville, is asleep on the bed. Sophia and Marie are sleeping. Sophia, the namesake of the wives of Louis Friedson, the scholar, and Nathaniel Hawthorne. Marie, my mother's oldest, living, these 3 girls resting in the dark. I made the lucid dark. I stole images from Milton to pure opaquest blue, to render the room an orb beneath this raucous moon of March, eclipsed only in daylight. Heaven breathing baby bodies, daughters and descendants in the presence of the great ones, Milton and Melville and Hawthorne, everyone speaking at once. I only looked at them, all blended, each half Semitic, of a race always at war. The rest of their imperative race from among Nordics, Germans, and English, writers, working and warring Jews into democracy, when actually is at the window making entrance with the lords in the midst of air cold for this time of year. Eve of Easter and the shocking resurrection idea. Someone baby stirs now, hungry for an egg. Melville baby going to make a fuss. The Melville one sucking her fingers for socks. She makes a squealing noise. The baby still deeply asleep. The one like my mother out like light. The Melville one, though the smallest one, because she doesn't really live here. Hawthorne, the one to be nourished when she gets up. Melville sucked a bit and dozed back off. Now Hawthorne is moving around. She's the most hungry. Yet perhaps when it's seduced by darkness in the room, I can hear Hawthorne. I know she's awake now, but will she stir, disturbing the sleeping Melville and insisting on waking us all? Meanwhile, the rest of the people of Lenox drive up and down the street. Now Hawthorne wants to eat. They all sing the line which I write, Hawthorne songs, and I was quiet. I hear Melville's toy. I've never changed the doctor. I think I'll go get Hawthorne and nurse her for the pleasure of cutting through the darkness between the doors of measures stimulated the boys. I'll cook a fish, retain poise in the presence of heady descendants. Stonewall, their fathers look at me and drink pain. I return a look to all the daughters, and I wait. Eve of Easter, I've inherited this sleep of the children of men. Rachel, Sophia, Marie, and again me, Bernadette. All heart I live, all head, all eye, all ear. I lost the prejudice of paradise and wind up here, babies of these guys.
Thank you, Bernadette Mayer. Thanks to all of you for coming to celebrate her and to celebrate the Golden Book of Words. Thank you to the Corrections. Thanks once more to our readers, Barbara Eckler, Philip Good, Brenda Coltis, Kia Gonzalez, Helen Decker, Morgan Gomes, Marcella Brand, Megan Washington, Don Marie, Techa, Leanne Brown, Marie Ward, Sarah Stephen, and the Lady of the Hour herself. Thanks to my colleagues, and have a wonderful night.